The mystery surrounding Audie Murphy has finally been solved, and it's not good. On June 20th, 1925, Audie Leon Murphy was born in Kingston, Texas. Emett and Josie Murphy, a sharecropping family that was struggling to make ends meet during the Great Depression, had 12 children, Murphy being the seventh. When Audie was just 16 years old, his mother passed away, and his father left the family when he was still a youngster. Murphy, an orphan who had only completed the 5th grade, was compelled to drop out of school and work at a variety of odd jobs to help support his younger siblings. His character was molded by these early years of adversity, which gave him a feeling of accountability, tenacity, and toughness that would characterize his later years. Murphy joined the American military, Army in 1942 after being turned down by the Marine Corps and Navy for being underweight and too tiny. At just 5 feet 5 inches and a little over 110 pounds, Murphy was not a likely candidate for combat glory, but his size belied his extraordinary bravery and leadership. During World War II, Murphy distinguished himself in campaigns in North Africa, Italy, France, and Germany, and he immediately gained a reputation for his valor, tactical skill, and unwavering devotion to his fellow soldiers. Despite being wounded and outgunned, Murphy managed to hold off an entire company of German troops for more than an hour on January 26, 1945, near Holzera, France, by climbing onto a burning tank destroyer and using its .50 caliber machine gun to slay enemy forces while simultaneously calling in artillery strikes. For his incredible bravery, Murphy was awarded the Medal of Honor, the highest U.S. military award, at the age of just 19. The most decorated American soldier of World War II, Murphy received 33 awards and decorations from the United States and Allied nations, including the Bronze Star, 2 Silver Stars, 3 Purple Hearts, and the Distinguished Service Cross, all of which were given to him by the end of the war. After returning home as a national hero, Murphy battled the psychological effects of war, suffering from what was then known as battle fatigue, which is now known as post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. Despite these emotional struggles, Murphy used his celebrity to advocate for veterans' rights and the need for mental health care, becoming one of the first public figures to openly discuss the emotional toll of war. Murphy moved to Hollywood, where he became a successful actor and starred in over 40 films, including To Hell and Back, 1955, a biographical war movie based on his own memoir of the same name, in which he played himself, reenacting his experiences during the war for the screen in a rare and impactful performance that solidified his reputation as a movie star and a war hero. Murphy, who approached acting with the same humility that marked his entire life, never considered himself a great actor, despite his frequent roles in war dramas and westerns. He also experimented with songwriting, writing a number of country and western songs, some of which were recorded by leading performers of the time, such as Dean Martin and Charley Pride. Murphy's career reached a significant turning point in 1957 when he landed a memorable role as the Utica Kid in the iconic Western Night Passage, which starred him alongside Hollywood's biggest stars and solidified his place in the popular Western genre that was then enthralling audiences. Murphy shared the screen with legendary actors James Stewart and Dan Duryea. Murphy's most productive and defining years were 1959, when he wowed audiences with 3 distinct westerns, each showcasing a different aspect of his acting prowess. Murphy co-starred with the endearing Sandra Dee in The Wild and the Innocent, their on-screen chemistry bringing new life to the story of innocence meeting wilderness. In addition to his acting career, Murphy worked behind the scenes as an uncredited co-producer on the stark black-and-white drama Cast a Long Shadow, a collaboration with the legendary Walter Mirisch that showed his expanding influence in Hollywood beyond his acting career. However, it was No Name on the Bullet, a taut and suspenseful film in which Murphy played a hired killer that garnered the most critical attention. The film was praised for its atmospheric storytelling and Murphy's intense, multi-layered performance, which helped establish him as a versatile and captivating leading man in the Western canon. Murphy's abilities were not limited to the big screen. In 1960, he also enthralled television viewers when he co-starred with the great Thelma Ritter in an episode of Star Time called The Man. This performance demonstrated Murphy's comfort and charm in the new medium of television, which increased his appeal to a still larger audience. In addition to his acting career, Murphy's sense of civic duty and patriotism were evident in the early 1960s when he donated his time, talent, and star power to the U.S. Army's The Big Picture television series, appearing in 3 episodes and acting as a trusted spokesperson for the military's efforts to communicate with the public. In 1960, Murphy received the prestigious Outstanding Civilian Service Medal for his efforts, which included the episode Broken Bridge, in which Murphy visited military installations in Germany, Italy, Turkey, and the American Southwest in New Mexico, showcasing state-of-the-art military equipment and technology, fusing entertainment with practical significance. Murphy's creative partnerships flourished during this time, particularly with writer Claire Huffaker, who wrote the screenplays for 2 of Murphy's major 1,961 films, 7 Ways from Sundown and Posse from Hell. These projects cemented Murphy's position as a major player in Western cinema, collaborating with gifted storytellers who created stories that were ideally matched to his gritty yet subtle aesthetic. In his early Hollywood days, Murphy developed a close friendship with Willard W. Willingham and his wife, Mary Willingham, with whom he collaborated on a number of projects that demonstrated a dynamic professional synergy. Willard co-wrote the screenplay for Battle at Bloody Beach that year and produced Murphy's 1961 television series Whispering Smith, combining gritty storytelling with exciting action. Together, the Willinghams wrote the screenplay for Gunpoint and the script for 40 Guns to Apache Pass, 1967, Murphy's last leading role in a Western, and they continued to collaborate through the mid-1960s with Bullet for a Bad Man, 1964, and Arizona Raiders, 1965, 2 films that further shaped Murphy's legacy in the Western genre. By shooting Trunk to Cairo in Israel in 1966, Murphy further broadened his horizons abroad and shown his readiness to take on tough and varied parts outside of conventional American settings. Murphy's relationship with director Bud Boetticher was one of the most important in his career. It started in an unlikely place, a boxing gym, when Murphy asked to be Boetticher's boxing partner at Terry Hunt's athletic club, and it led to a nearly 2-decade-long creative partnership that saw Murphy star in the title role of Boetticher's first Western, The Cimarron Kid, 1952, a film that would set the stage for future collaborations. Their relationship lasted, and in 1969, Boetticher wrote the screenplay for A Time for Dying, Murphy's final film and a moving culmination of their long-working relationship. Aorse for Mr. Barnum and When There's Something to Do, 2 further projects they had planned to work on together, never materialized, leaving admirers to speculate about what might have been if the 2 had carried on with their artistic endeavors. Both happiness and turmoil characterized Audie Murphy's personal life, which mirrored the challenges he encountered off the battlefield. In 1949, he married actress Wanda Hendress, a well-known Hollywood personality who had starred in a number of films in the 1940s and early 1950s. Their marriage garnered significant media attention, in part because Murphy was becoming more and more well-known as one of the most decorated American combat soldiers of World War II, and in part because Wanda's Hollywood career was taking off. The strains of Hollywood life, Murphy's ongoing battles with post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, after his wartime experiences, and the inherent difficulties of managing a public relationship all contributed to their union's difficulties, which ultimately led to their formal divorce in 1951 after 2 years of trying to work things out. Murphy's second marriage, to Pamela Opal, Lee Archer, a former airline stewardess whose calm demeanor and grounded personality provided a stark contrast to the glamour and turbulence of Murphy's first marriage, marked the end of a chapter that had been both a romantic endeavor and a public spectacle. Amazingly, Murphy remarried just 4 days after his divorce from Wanda Hendricks was finalized, and their decision to marry so soon after his divorce reflected both the urgency and intensity with which he sought stability and a family life amid the chaos of his personal struggles. Audi Murphy and Pamela Opal Lee Archer created a family that became a pillar of Murphy's later years, with 2 sons, Terry Michael and James Shannon. Born in 1952, Terry Michael Murphy would go on to become well known for his own work in the entertainment industry, continuing the family's ties to Hollywood. Pamela gave Murphy the sense of normalcy and support he sorely needed. Audi and Pamela's marriage lasted much longer than his first, giving him a higher level of personal happiness and familial support. Their younger son, James Shannon Murphy, was born a few years later and also grew up with the legacy of his father's remarkable life shadowing his own. Both sons were raised with an awareness of their father's extraordinary accomplishments and the burdens that came with them. Beyond her role as a wife, Pamela was a confidant who helped Murphy deal with the often overwhelming pressures of fame, trauma, and public expectations. Audi's family remained a stabilizing force, despite the many challenges he faced, such as mental scars from the war and chronic pain, and the presence of his sons, and the relative stability of his marriage to Pamela represented a significant contrast to his earlier years, and gave Murphy a sense of peace and normalcy. The circumstances surrounding the death of Audie Murphy, a Hollywood actor and one of America's most decorated World War II heroes, have been cloaked in mystery, conjecture, and unsolved questions for decades. While the story of Murphy's life, from a poor Texas farm boy to a war hero whose valor became legendary, is widely known, what actually transpired on the day of his death has long remained a puzzling mystery that left his family, fans, and historians all seeking answers. The official story of Audie Murphy's death was simple for years. On May 28, 1971, Murphy died in a tragic plane crash in Brush Mountain near Catawba, Virginia, when the private plane he was riding in, a small twin-engine Aero Commander, went down in bad weather while flying low over mountainous terrain. Official reports attributed the crash to pilot error and poor visibility, an unfortunate accident that ended the life of a national hero at just 45 years old. However, new evidence and investigative breakthroughs have recently surfaced, finally providing a definitive explanation. Unfortunately, the truth is far darker and more concerning than anyone had hoped. However, murmurs about mysterious people who might have wanted Murphy silenced, his difficult personal life, and his battles with PTSD from the war all contributed to the rapid emergence of rumors and suspicions. Conspiracy theories grew over the years, with some claiming that Murphy's contacts with government officials and his alleged knowledge of sensitive information during his time in Hollywood led to the crash being planned by intelligence agencies. Others claiming that organized crime had targeted him, or that it was retaliation from enemies connected to his private business dealings. These theories gained momentum because a number of important details about the crash were never fully explained, including why the plane flew so low into dangerous terrain, inconsistent pilot testimonies, and the mysterious absence of some crucial wreckage pieces at the crash site. These questions remained unanswered for decades, and family members vehemently denied any suggestion of foul play, clinging to the story of an unfortunate accident. However, the lack of concrete evidence left the truth tantalizingly out of reach, and the mystery cast a shadow over Murphy's legacy, leaving many wondering if the war hero's life ended in something far more sinister than tragedy. A team of independent investigators recently conducted a thorough reinvestigation of the crash, spurred on by advancements in forensic technology and access to declassified government documents. Using contemporary tools not available at the time, they analyzed weather reports, flight data, and wreckage fragments, uncovering startling new evidence that suggests intentional sabotage rather than accident. Investigators found evidence of tampering with the aircraft's control systems, wires cut or rerouted in a way consistent with sabotage, and new interviews with retired officials and witnesses who had previously been silent have emerged, indicating that Murphy was being watched in the months leading up to the crash. One whistleblower, who came forward after decades of silence, said that Murphy had stumbled upon sensitive information about secret government operations, making him a liability to some powerful groups. The implications of these revelations are profoundly disturbing. Audie Murphy, hailed for his valor on the battlefield, seems to have been betrayed in peacetime by forces determined to erase him. This whistleblower's testimony painted a terrifying picture of a cover-up intended to make Murphy's death appear to have been a tragic accident while permanently silencing him. Once romanticized as a tragic accident, the mystery now reveals a grim reality of betrayal, conspiracy, and calculated violence, tarnishing the memory of Murphy's last moments and replacing the image of a hero lost to fate with a man entangled in a web of danger and political intrigue. Murphy's family has also been deeply affected. After years of grieving and unresolved questions, they are now demanding a thorough public investigation and justice for the man who put everything on the line for his nation, only to be betrayed in return. Murphy's legacy is being re-examined by historians and military specialists alike, who are debating how this new knowledge relates to the larger picture of Cold War America, Hollywood's connections to the government, and the frequently unspoken risks incurred by public personalities who crossed boundaries. What was once viewed as a tragic but simple accident is now exposed as a sobering reminder that even heroes can fall prey to evil far beyond the battlefield. Rather than providing closure and peace, the Audie Murphy mystery's resolution raises a number of difficult issues regarding trust, power, and treachery. Even while the whole truth behind Audie Murphy's death may never be known, the disturbing reality that has finally surfaced casts a long shadow over his valiant legacy, and it is most definitely not a good one.